A pinch of story, a spoon of exaggeration, and a whole lot of fun.
Hey guys, it's Jeff Brown over at the house, and I got a little story for you today about the first dinner we had after we got married. Now, this was 39 years ago, and we got married in this little chapel in Reno, and we traveled there by ourselves. We didn't have any friends and family, it was just the two of us. We got married in the afternoon, and we had gotten this coupon somewhere, maybe at the hotel, for 2 steak and lobster dinners at a nearby restaurant for like $7.99 or something. So that sounded pretty good to us because we were young and we were poor, so we thought that was a pretty good deal. And the place, it turns out, was like a couple blocks from the hotel. So we just walked it over there, and we got over there and we stepped inside. And I should have known there was something wrong right away because there was this couple at the front desk, and they were arguing with the hostess about something that they wanted taken off their bill, and the hostess was arguing back with them. And so we stood there waiting to get served, and while this whole argument went on. Well, a minute or so went by, and they got it resolved, and the couple paid, and they left. And then the hostess turned her attention towards us. She said 2, and we're like, yeah. So she takes us back and sits us at this table, and the restaurant was, not filled, but there was a number of people there anyway. So we sat down at this table, and pretty soon I guess the bus guy came over, and he gave us a couple waters and a little basket of bread. So mind you, we just got married hours before, so we're all giddy and full of love and hope for the future, And we're sitting there and we're drinking this water and eating the bread. And pretty soon this waiter comes over and he, brings menus over. And I said, that's okay. We don't need menus. We've got this coupon for, lobster, steak and lobster dinner for 2 for $7.99. And he looks at us, and I remember him just going like this. Great. And he goes, how do you want your steak cooked? And we told him, and got that all ordered. And he goes, all right, I'll be back with you. And he takes our ticket back to the, to be prepared. And we sit there for quite some time, and I remember we had drank all the water that we had and eaten all the bread as we sat there. But like I said, we had just got married, so we're talking. We're not paying too much attention to how long it went by. But a period of time had went by. And next thing you know, we start hearing this arguing coming out of the kitchen. And it's first a little bit of a rumble and not too much, and it starts to escalate, and it gets louder and it gets louder, and pretty soon there's it's literally yelling, and then profanities getting used, and then we hear some pans get slammed, and some stuff falls on the floor, and pretty soon there's plates crashing, and there is swearing and yelling like you've never seen before. And I mean, this is alarming because the kitchen is right there. I'm looking over at other people. I'm looking at my wife. Everybody's shocked. We're in the basement of what the heck is going on back in the kitchen. So pretty soon I hear, this rumble. And like I said, this person comes tearing out of the kitchen at as fast as you can walk and flies by our table and heads to the front door. And they get to the front door and they say, F you, I'm out of here. And they go out the door, except they didn't say F. And they go out the door and, out the door they go. And my wife and I are looking at each other and we're like, was that our waiter? And we think it was. So, it settles down after that. There's just quiet. There's dead quiet in the kitchen. We don't know what's going on. We sit there again for much longer time this time. I don't remember how long it was, but I'm saying we sat there so long that we were almost thinking maybe we should leave after what we had seen. But, eventually out comes this guy, and he comes out and explains to us that he's the manager. And unfortunately, our waiter had quit. And like we didn't already know that somehow. But he explains that our waiter had quit. And he said, unfortunately, he didn't know what our order was. So he'd like to take the order again, and he'll have it, put on rush, and he'll get us our food. So again, we're young, and, we're looking for the sweet deal. So we give him the order. He goes back and gets it cooked in pretty short amount of time. And he comes out pretty soon, and he brings out the the steak and lobster supposedly that we're going to get for this $7.99 deal, and he sets it down in front of us, and they're these great big round plates. And in the middle of it, I can only describe it, if you know what a crawdad is or a big shrimp, that's what it looked like. It did not look at all like a lobster that I've ever seen. It was the tiniest little thing, and the tail of it was like one bite. And then the steak that came with it was also not very impressive at all. It was a tiny little steak, and it was grilled to, death. And we kind of looked at it, and, he goes, well, let me know if you need anything else. And then he ran off to serve other tables because other people were waiting just like we were. So we sat there and looked at it, and we agreed that I guess you get what you pay for. And this sweet deal that we had wasn't so sweet anymore after all that had happened. So we ended up, I think, making the best of it and tried to eat the thing. And we saw the busboy go by and asked him if we could get some extra bread, which I think he gave us. And we made the most of the meal. And that was basically our first dinner after we got married. Not exactly successful, but lively and adventurous to say the least. So if you're ever in Reno and somebody gives you a coupon telling you you're going to get 2 steak and lobster dinners for the price of, unbelievably low, you might think twice before going over there is the only thing I can tell you. So anyway, that's my story. That's the first time we had dinner. We had many dinners since then. And like I said, 39 years of love. We've had a lot better steak and lobster dinners since then, but that's how it all started. So, when you're young though, I think you're just happy to be, having something, be out together. And our marriage, our wedding that day was exciting. So it was, nothing but fun. So anyway, that's my story. Hope you liked it. And I want to thank you for listening. I want to wish you a good day. God bless you. And I'll be talking to you soon.
That's it for this one. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and hey, tell a friend.